number 17, Rust and Bookmark. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. So in honour of the prompt, I've got my rusty coloured cardigan on in case it gets cold. And I've got another pouch to open for day 17 of December. So this is from Joanna, who's been sending me things for each Saturday leading up to the 25th. So we're going to have a look at that. And I have finally remembered to play the memory game. So we're going to play that. So this is where I lay out 6 cards, we remember them, I put them away, and then we try and remember them in the right order at the end. So 6 cards, let's just lay them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th one. And we'll just straighten them up here and have a look. Okay, get ready. Don't write them down and no cheating. First one is a candlestick and a megaphone, a telephone, a cooking pot, a film camera or movie camera, and a safety pin. Okay, so a candlestick, a megaphone, telephone, cooking pot, movie camera, and a safety pin. All right. Quickly, no cheating, no winding back to have a look. Okay, let's settle into a nice craft. So, we've been listening to the story of Marianne North, and she is on her adventures now to Japan. So, with that in my mind, that is influencing my ideas here. And the other thing to say is that the prompt for the animal card today, as given to us for Dephemerember, is the moth. So we're going to use that idea as well. I may not use this moth, but I shall keep that moth theme in mind. So we've got Japan, we've got the moth, we've got to make rust, and we've ultimately got to make a bookmark. I've got PVA glue, I've got some paintbrushes, I've got packaging paper, a little dish. I'm going to put some water in there, water down some of my paints, and I've pulled out all my rusty acrylic paints, all the colours that I can think of. We might want a silver colour as well, and I've also, I'm not sure, but I've got some oxide sprays. I've got a spiced marmalade and a walnut stain. And somewhere I've got the rusty hinge ink, but we might not need that. So I'm putting down some PVA glue here and just taking my glue brush, which is really a multi-purpose anything goes brush. I'm just going to spread out some glue because what I want to do is lay down some sewing pattern paper on top of my glue mixture, and I just want to make sure I've got it nice and stuck, so I'm covering this. This is quite one of those thicker packaging papers that you get. They sometimes come as bags from Amazon and they are a little bit thicker. So the glue hopefully isn't going to seep all the way through. And here's the paper that I've got. This could be napkin. I just want to bring in some scrunch textures. Okay, so far so good. Let's wash the brush. So I'm going to add my lighter colours first and make a wash of colour with some water. So I'm just going to make a very light brown colour. Okay, so that was some burnt sienna and some yellow ochre and raw sienna. All right, so it looks like that. We're looking for a curry sauce sort of a type, and quite a lot of water. And I'm just going to mix that in, and what I want is a stain of pigment and a wash of colour. So when you add water to paint like this, acrylic paint, you're breaking down the structure of the acrylic paint and you're creating a stain. It's not going to work as it did before, and it's just going to add colour. It's pigment and water at the end of the day. It's no longer a thick acrylic paint. It's probably best to have added water in slowly rather than pour it all in like I just did, but I'm just going to lay down this colour, and I want it all in the creases of this paper. Alright, so the yellowy tinge is down. It's already looking quite rust-like because we've got the brown of the background packaging, so that's quite useful to start off with. It takes some of the legwork out of it. You're not starting with a white base. Okay, the other thing I'm doing is I want to put in a little bit of gritty texture, and all I've got here is a clear gesso, and I'm just using a scrap of paper. I just want to pull some of this around as well, just to see if I can get some more texture going. Oh, and when my friend from Japan sent over some interesting bits and pieces, she's given me some papers with Japanese writing on, so I'm keen to bring some of this into the project. Just want to scruff that up a bit. Okay, it's dried off reasonably well. I've got this spiced marmalade oxide spray, which is pretty much an orangey colour. I'm just going to put a shot of water over it so that the ink will move. And then we'll try not to get everything too coated on the desk. Oh, look at that. What a fabulous colour. Spiced marmalade. But it's reacting with the water, it's reacting with what I've put underneath. This is a walnut stain oxide. And there's something about walnut stain in the oxide that it reacts, and there's some other colours in there. There's a yellow that comes out, and it's a bit unpredictable, but and a red seems to emerge. It's quite a weird product. It's 1876, and we rejoin the story of Marianne North as she travels to Japan on the ship the Oceana. At daybreak on the 7th of November, she sees glorious views of Mount Fujiyama, which she later paints. She paints with the frame of the wisteria hanging around it. And everything in Japan was strange and unlike anything Marianne had ever seen before. The houses were excessively neat and exquisitely finished, and all on a miniature scale. They often had bamboo-framed paper windows with little stacks of rice straw piled around as extra padding against the cold. Some even had beds of lilies growing on their roofs. The temples were like palaces of wood, richly gilded and painted inside. Often surrounded by groups of Japanese cedar pines and bamboo, the tea houses and their gardens were a delight. Yellow, sugarless tea or cherry blossom tea was served in tiny handless cups with delicate little cakes made of rice and bean flour. The countryside looked spectacular that November. The maples were turning every tint of red, crimson, scarlet or deepest purple, and the leaves of the old ginkgo were beginning to change to a lovely yellow. Marianne used vast quantities of madder and carmine to imitate what could not be imitated. Marianne had hoped to stay until the summer in Japan, for she wrote to her friend Maggie Xian, "These wonderful islands and their people are too full of attractions for me to leave in a hurry." But it was too cold, and sometimes she could hardly stand or even hold her paintbrush. In Kyoto, she stayed in a hotel which was once a temple. Her room was made of paper with sliding panels all around, but the only trouble was she could not see through the paper windows. If she opened them it let in the cold air and the damp rain. Like many travellers, Marianne was tempted to buy all sorts of unnecessary objects, and she confessed that she would commit bankruptcy on the teapots alone. It was in Japan that Marianne experienced one of her more extraordinary modes of transport. It was the jinrickshaw, a kind of grown-up perambulator, a stroller or something that you would put a child in, which was dragged along by Chinese men who went as quick as ponies. But by the 19th of December, Marianne could stand the cold no longer, and she decided to return to Yokoyama, that's south of Kyoto. Here she stayed with friends and was in the care of a doctor for 10 days, suffering from a rheumatic fever. She was unable to feed herself. Marianne felt the only way she would recover is to cut her stay short and to seek the warmth of the tropics, and so she set about embarking on her travels to Singapore. And here we leave the story, and we'll pick it up as she goes to Singapore next time. Okay, here we have a really great rusty background. It has lots of layers, lots of texture, lots of different colours, really looking like a rusty effect there, washed out in the rain, drizzling down, and the star of the show was the distressed oxide spray in spiced marmalade, and that's what's given that effect. Okay, so this is picking out colours from this moth. That's quite fun. The other ink I've used, the ink spray I was using there, is by Seth Apter, and it is in Adeline, and I love that. It's a really rich, orangey, rusty spray. I love it. It's a really nice dark honey colour. Very cool. Okay, so that was the ink effect, and I really enjoyed that. So we need to know where we're going to put all of this in the journal, just so that I can understand where it... Well, hang on. This could be perfect. In here we've already got a rusty coloured page going on. That's absolutely perfect to welcome us in to the Japan and Chinese portion of her journey. And I think this will come into Singapore over here. That's beautiful. I love that. So this is Japan. Yep, I think this is great. So this is going to be the rusty colour here. I might even like that to come over that side and tie in there, and then not have that. How do we like that? Yeah, that'd be okay. And then we'll just tie. We'll just clip on with one of our nice paper clips. All right, so we've got that scrap for another thing. I found this lovely paper. It's sort of like an aubergine brown colour, and I think that would just be lovely on there. Alright, I'm just going to glue this down really well with a 3-in-1 silicone glue. Okay, I'm going to put this off to one side to set and show you what I found on my autumn walk, and that is some ginkgo biloba leaves, a specialist tree that was growing, and these are the leaves, and I just thought that they're so beautiful, but they were all crunched up, and I just took a few. I didn't know that they were going to make it, but what I've done is I'm rehydrating them here in some water, just so that I can now lift them out and put them on some tissue and be able to use them. And I just love that one because it looked like the wings of a moth. And this one sadly broke, but it had another portion over there. But don't these just look like moth wings? And so I found that that's been really inspirational, that shape. And also the dye that's come off of here is quite interesting as well. It's a yellow tea stained sort of dye. So I'm just wondering if enough of those leaves would have created something that could dye paper a slight yellow colour. So what I want these to do is to dry flat, and then I will be able to use them. What I might do, now that I've got them, because they're so fragile, what I might do is coat them in a PVA to strengthen them up, and see if I can come up with something. But if I could just get that to be flat without breaking. See, this is the one that I love. So I'm just going to put that over there and flatten them under a book. Okay, so because of that beautiful shape, and because I think those leaves are going to take a while to do, whilst they're drying and everything else, I'm going to do some paper craft and make a moth out of paper. Okay, so what I've been doing earlier is drawing out some wings, some moth wings, so that I can cut them out and have templates. So those are my templates. What I've done is I've created a template here for everybody, so if you'd like to download this you can. And what I've got here also is from my friend in Japan who sent through lots of ephemera for me. She sent through some beautiful script from the 1920s, 1930s, and it's all old and it's all original. It's very, very fragile. I don't really want to use it. I haven't got much, but what I have been able to do is to scan it in. This is now a copy. I'll show you what it is. So here are the wings that I've drawn. They're very loose and very rough, but I think they'll be fine. So we've got some butterfly. I'm calling it moth wings, but you can build your own butterfly. So we've got that. And then we've got them in smaller. So we've got slightly smaller and smaller still, so we can make lots. And then I have printed out the text that I've been given. So it's been scanned and copied, and then there's 2 sheets of it. And this one's got a lovely image here of a Japanese lady in the woods, so I think that's really great. And then this is a vintage copy of a vintage map. And that's a whole bundle, and that's available on my Ko-fi site. The link's below in my link tree. And make moths or butterflies. And I thought that they could be made out of the Japanese text and script, or out of map, or book page, anything you want, jelly print, anything, any decorative papers. So what I'll be working on is the medium size, that's that portion there, and I've cut out some wings, and I think it's this one that I'm interested in. And we've got, so those are butterfly wings or moth wings, and then they can have that underneath as well. So this could be used here, and you could create your own butterfly. There we go. So they look great with those wings. Or the smaller ones, or not at all. Great on their own. Top wings, or they could be under wings. You play around with them, so you could have a moth looking like that with the larger wings underneath. You can swap it around and alter it down so you could see the folds. You could have different contrasting colours. You could bring them down, but then put another strip of paper. You just cut something. What I thought was quite fun would be a bead, or just a teardrop bit of paper there, or you don't even need it. You just link it up so that you've got it like that. And then you can just put some cotton for antennae. So that was that. I think that was quite nice as it was. And you just put a body on it. It's supposed to be one of those lovely moths. Anyway, they're all to be played around with and built, and we're going to have a go at that. And I thought that I could use some of the script and then some map as well. And that's been printed out onto white copy paper. But then I've got some textured fibred paper, which I've had in my stash for ages, and I was able to run that through the printer, And I didn't have very many sheets, but I've now ended up with this script stamp looking very authentic on here, and I thought that I could make butterflies out of this using that. So I'm going to use this as my template, cut them out, and it's not very thick, but I think it will be okay. Well, I'm having a lovely time cutting out these butterflies. I'm cutting this butterfly out of a map, and that just will give me a different contrast because I've used the text with the other ones that I'm lining up on this tag here. So I've got the Japanese script for the middle moth, and then I've added a butterfly on top of this elongated moth butterfly, which you can layer up with the different sizes as well. There's lots of things that you could do. Keen to play with these. I think the larger ones on the front sheet would be really great as a really nice ephemera for one particular page spread. I think that would look really nice to have the larger ones, so I'm just going for the smaller ones to fit on this bookmark, and I'm just having a look to see what the vintage map would be like. But it's quite nice if anyone's got some atlas pages. So you're talking about a particular destination, perhaps you're planning on going for a trip somewhere, you could make butterflies out of the map ephemera that you may have picked up on your travels. And it's quite nice, isn't it, because it's a butterfly going on its adventures, so it's good. And the wings as well don't need to be joined, they can be taken apart and put either side of a image or a photograph or a paper doll of some sort. So that's the little wings being cut out there, and I think I'm going to have them up there and back them onto. I'm just trying to work out whether I like the yellow or whether the white is nice and bright. That might be better. That's the map, and then we just need the body. I think that'll live up there. And then these layer up as well, so if you cut them out of other things, they would layer up and look really pretty. Same with this one. And you could just sew through the middle, and then they could be three-dimensional. And then the other idea is to not have that, but to put a paper bead. So I might do that. For that one is a paper bead, and that's the idea. And I've shown you how to make paper beads before, just on a wooden stick and a little strip of triangular paper. So that could be the centre part of your moth or your butterfly, and then the more interesting the piece of paper, the more interesting the body. But then you could paint that in a gold or a different colour, or that could be the rusted element. If you're following along some of these techniques, we could use some of the rust, or we could cut the butterflies out in this rust and have a rusty butterfly. So there's loads of ideas just with a few pieces of paper. Okay, here we have it. It's all assembled, and what I've got is a lovely bookmark with a really, really interesting rusty effect, which you can see that was created by all the inks and the paints that we put on there, just using sewing paper. And then using the kit, I've made butterflies and moths, and I've embellished them with a bead on one, sewing on another, just showing you different ideas there, using textured papers or embossed papers. That would all look really nice. And then a little bead there, which is just some paper that I think might want to live there and look really pretty. That's another idea. And then squash in an eyelet. Squash that on so that sits like that at the back, that at the front, and then we just need something, here we are, a bit of rag, just to tidy that up at the top there. And that's it. So who can remember what the cards were for the memory game? I don't think I can do them in the order, but I will give that a go. I have actually been doing this for quite some time now, so we are a few hours on because of the filming and the drying time of everything. So let me think, let me find them. Okay, so I think we had, hang on, no, let me think. We had a gramophone, but that wasn't the first thing. There was a telephone. Oh, hang on. Might have got it. They're all out of order anyway because I muddled them up. A gramophone, a telephone, was there a television? A sewing pin, a casserole dish, like a cooking pot, a sewing pin, safety pin. These are all in the wrong. What else? Was it a lamp, or was that the last time? Oh my goodness, hopeless. I'm hopeless. I will remember. I shall shout it out in the middle of the night, and I'll go, oh, megaphone. Oh, that's one, megaphone. Right, movie. Okay, so we've got film, we've got cooking, we've got the telephone, we've got the safety pin. Oh, that's it, the candlestick. Yes, I couldn't think. Oh dear. Well, my mind is on other things. So there we go. These are fun, aren't they? I'll definitely need to do a few more of those to try and get my memory to work. Hopeless. Right, anyway. Well, at least I remembered how to make a bookmark. There we go. I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to add it to the journal, as is the plan. And that's India. Where's China? Where's Japan? Here we go. So that actually looks quite nice, having that turned over. Oh, and in here somewhere, but this is making the journal smell lovely because it was scented. In here, oh, this was for prompt number 10, the leaf. These leaves here at the front, they are wisteria leaves that we've just heard in the story. So I have actually got wisteria leaves being used in the journal, and geranium as well. And that was the geranium leaf, and it's scented with a geranium scent, and that's where she went to go and recoup after her father had passed. She went to Italy. So it's sort of all linked. There's some lovely links coming in here. I just really, really think it's brilliant. But this is going to live here. Oh, look. How fantastic. I'm really pleased with the size. I'm really pleased with the size. And now I am wanting that bead to be there. I think that will look really nice, because it's got a little bit of gold and it picks up there. So I might want to put a bit of gold embellishment, because I've got a bit of copper going on there and there. Maybe a little bit of gold on that one. That just super, but it could equally be a belly band, and I think that looks so stunning. So stunning on the background with this paper here. And then that shot of blue coming through, it actually connects, doesn't it? I can even have it there. Ooh. Using the ephemera my friend gave me from Japan is just so special, because that happened not that long ago. So it's all tying in, and it's just really lovely when that all works out. So I'm really pleased. I'm going to put that up there. Balance that on there, and then I'm very excited to see what was in my little parcel here from Joanne. It's got my name on it, Mel. That's lovely. Yeah, I just love that string. It's really fine, and I think that will just, if I can untangle it, I'll be able to use it for tomorrow. Okay, what have we got? Also, just to remind you, so I've already had a very beautiful bird, and then last week I had this wonderful tree, and let's see. Oh, it's all wrapped up. Oh wow! Oh look, friendship. Oh, you are so sweet. And look, ah, that is so. Oh my goodness, that's origami. Oh, that's origami. Hang on. Hold on a moment. That's perfect. Hang on. Back to China. That's so brilliant. Oh, well, that's just got an oriental vibe, hasn't it? Oh, that is so cool. Well, it's going to go in here anyway, Jo. That's perfect. Oh, wow. How brilliant is that? Aren't you clever, origami? I must have a go at that. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I better hang it up in the craft room. And that makes me feel all like it's lovely in here. And then it's coming into the journal, because that in particular, how funny that we're doing today and we've gone to Japan and now we're off to Singapore and you've just sent me some origami. And where does origami come from? Japan. Absolutely couldn't have made it up, could we? And then this is brilliant. Oh, look, even the red. I think we could use the red, Joanne, as well for something to... Oh, look at this. Red and auspicious. Leave it in there and think on that for now. And then we've got some other little papers and bits and pieces. Look at this wonderful. Oh my goodness me. I think you're on to me, Jo, aren't you? I think you must have been following along and helping me here, because that felt very helpful. All of those things, they all felt like they were going to be perfect, which is excellent because it is a lot. What have you got here? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, I love that. What is this? Christmas time. And a ticket to party with a steampunk. Oh yes, look at that. Key. Oh, I think this should come in here as well. Right, it's so cool. I love it. Okay, that is all gonna happen. We've done everything. We've just about remembered everything. We've had our present, and everybody else is getting a present. So thank you very much. There's a gift of a moth and a butterfly for you all. And spread your wings and let's have this rippled effect around the world of kindness and creativity. Well, that was a lot of fun. If you're enjoying the videos and you'd like to catch up and have a look, then everything has been put in a playlist entitled Dephemerember 2022. You can catch up at your leisure. They will be there forever. And there's lots of information here for all abilities and just some inspiration in each video. Do please go and have a look at the other playlists as well. I'm sure you'll find something there to enjoy. And there are also podcasts that come out on Mondays and Thursdays if you want to have a look at the link below and find that. And if you've got a printer and you'd like to have a go at these butterflies or moths, you can of course go and download this and you get all of these plus the script in the Japanese writing and the vintage map. And here's there you go. So it's 5 pages. You can dip into it and use it at your leisure however you would like, and experiment and try printing out on different papers and just see what you can achieve with what I've given you there. So thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with prompt 18 and we'll have a look at stencils and a booklet for you. Bye bye now.